Welcome back. This is going to be the 10th episode of the Deathgate game. This is a fantastic game, is it not? Tons of awesome dialogue and cool graphics for its time, for sure. Be sure you check out the Deathgate Cycle series. Great books. Great books. I'll go over a little bit more about that when the game is over. But if you like, Robert Jordan, Wheel of Time, Game of Thrones, any Dragonlance or Forgotten Realms type novel, you will undoubtedly love the Deathgate Cycle series. Deathgate series, whatever. I don't know. It's not hard to find. Still print the books, goddammit. Go buy them. Anyways, let's continue on with the adventure here. This ashhole won't be coming back to life anytime soon, so we'll go ahead and leave the cave. I just had an incredible vision when I picked up this black robe. What do you think it means?
I just had an incredible vision when I picked up this black robe. What do you think it means?
A vision? Tell me about it. This is amazing. You've just experienced the life of our first dynast, Clitus I. It answers quite a few questions I've had about his rise to power and his reign. It also answers many questions about our current situation.
How did this happen? Why did I see all of these things when I picked up the robe?
I'm not exactly sure. It's possible that when Clitus took his own life, the robe became infused with his spirit. This happens sometimes, especially when the death is particularly violent and the victim is very powerful in magic. When you picked up the robe, what was left of Clitus, lying there for thousands of years, passed through you. Your mind interpreted this by showing his memories. This is all speculation, you realize.
Can you interpret the bit about Clitus's grab for power?
I would be happy to. What would you like to know?
Wasn't there a ruling council at that time? Could you tell me about it?
The High Council once governed over all of Abarak. Clitus was a member. It democratically created laws for all Sartan and at one time the Mensch as well. When the Mensch woke the Sartan, the council was the body that decided on the course of action. To put a handful of the Mensch to sleep and wait for the interconnection. The council would have continued to rule if Clitus had not been so power-hungry.
How did he convince the council to let him disband it and institute a monarchy?
He didn't have the political power to do that. No one did. So he required magical power to back his play. He made himself undefeatable with the scepter. No one dared to oppose him after he created it. It was child's play to institute the monarchy. He merely eliminated every possible opponent.
Why did he do all of this?
I believe that to be a member of Abarak's council, the only requisite was a mastery of magic. This implied intelligence, but not necessarily sanity. Clitus was clearly insane, if not before his play for power, then afterward.
Let's move on to another topic.
Very well.
Can you tell me exactly what happened to the Colossus?
The Colossus is the source of Abarak's magic. It is what warms the stone, melts the ice, and feeds water throughout the world. It was an unparalleled marvel, by far the greatest of the ancients' achievements. It contained so much power that it's easy to see why Clitus lusted after it.
What happened when he finally subdued it?
Over a period of several months, Clitus wove an intricate set of spells that temporarily weakened the containment rune. When the structure had drained the rune of enough power, he had his dwarf servant carve a chunk of the rune away. It was a central line of the rune. Without it, the symbol was meaningless and therefore powerless. The Colossus's magic began to drain away.
What was the rune that he was battling with?
It was a containment rune. The spell was a cap for the Colossus's magic. It sealed the spells inside to keep the magic from flowing out, so that the Colossus would last forever.
What did he do by removing a chunk of the rune?
It was much like taking a chunk of flesh from your body. The magic sealed inside of the Colossus started to leak out, like blood from a vital wound.
Why did he do this when it would eventually destroy this world? Didn't he think ahead?
It's true that eventually the Colossus would lose enough power to cease supporting Abarak. I'm sure Clytus must have known this. It's possible that Clytus was counting on the interconnection. He must have reasoned that thousands of years would pass before it would actually make a difference. Long before that, the interconnection would occur, and Abarak would survive on the energies provided from it. On that, I'm a little unclear as well. The interconnection is a little mystical to me, but it's obvious that the ancients believed in it. Perhaps they shouldn't have. Thousands of years have passed, and no interconnection has taken place. The Colossus is failing, and it's taking our world with it.
Can the Colossus be fixed?
That's an interesting question. I suppose it could. If the rune were reconnected, it would begin to function again. The spell would hold in the magic as it is supposed to. I don't know if the Colossus has enough magic left at this point to support Abarak anymore, but at least it wouldn't lose anymore. The original fragment, if it were replaced, would do this. Actually, it wouldn't have to be the original fragment. Anything that had the missing line that fit into the hole would reconnect the rune. The complete rune is the important element, not the composition of the rock. If something with a fragment shape were placed inside the hole, the containment rune would reactivate.
What did he do at the end, before he left it?
Clytus was intelligent. He knew that people would see the Colossus with a huge chunk missing from the containment rune and realize something was amiss, so he placed an illusion upon it. Now the Colossus looks normal, even feels normal, but the hole is still there, the rune is still broken, and magic continues to flow.
Enough about this subject.
Very well.
Do you know how I could get to the Colossus?
The Colossus is located in the middle of the catacombs in the foundation of Clytus's palace. It's said that only the descendants of Clytus I are shown the way through. No one else is allowed in. Even if you were able to sneak back into the palace, I can't imagine how you would find your way to the center of that maze. Besides Clytus, there's no one living who can show you.
What's the deal with the dwarf?
The dwarf was Clytus's personal servant. He worshipped Clytus, very like a well-trained dog. I believe that's how Clytus saw him as well, not much more than an animal.
Where did he end up?
After Clytus had broken the containment rune, he had no further use of his servant. He banished him to the ancestral home of the dwarves. It's a complex of caves fairly near to Telestia. The dwarf obsessed about Clytus for years. Having the mental retention of the dead, he eventually forgot that he had completed the mission and broken the rune, so he sat in his cave waiting for Clytus to come and take him back to the catacombs. I think he's been waiting there ever since.
Let's move along to another subject.
Very well.
That's all I need to know.
As you wish.
I have adventuring to do, old man. I can't sit here and listen to you all fucking day. Go back to Telestia. That looks like the scepter from the video. Yes, it does. He shoved the vise in between the tongs, holding the headpiece in place. It's a snug fit. You twist the screw and slowly the tongs of the scepter begin to winch apart. After quite a while of intense effort, the stone headpiece falls from the tong, clutching to the metal platform below. That's my headpiece now, bitch.
The smallest people made their
Oh god,
homes
not grandma
in
again.
caves and caverns all their own.
Look at that book, bitch. You slide the book out of the dead nanny's wrinkled hands. She doesn't resist, but no sooner is the book gone than she stops speaking. Her eyes go blank and she sits motionless. Good, because I was tired of listening to her. The little ones. The day. Get that snake! We leave the book open to the rhyme, get that snake. The nanny stares at the ground motionless, purposeless.
Who are you?
I'm the nanny of this family. I take care of the children while the master does his research. In fact, I should be reading to the children right now as they go to sleep. Have you seen my book?
Yeah, bitch, and you're not getting it back until you do what I say.
Would you accompany me? I know where your book is.
You know where my book is? Please take me to it. I must read to the children. They can't go to sleep without their rhymes. They need me, you see.
Alright, we got zombie grandma following us around. That's great.
Would you accompany me?
The corpse shuffles over beside you and looks at you expectantly. Now we have 2 zombies following us. Fantastic. Could this get any better? I don't know. The shallow cave ends in an unnatural wall, carved by dwarven symbols. A coiled snake studies you. The dead worker's dull eyes roam around, confused.
Go grab that snake.
The worker turns his gaze to the coiled snake in the middle of the cave. He shuffles over and grabs it. If a snake could look surprised, you'd swear it was stunned by this hulking corpse. It whips around and bites him, but the worker doesn't even seem to notice. Yeah, that's right, punk-ass snake.
Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow.
The worker seems reassured by the run.
Grab the
He
snake
tightens his
and
grip
hold
on the
him
snake and
fast.
plants himself in place.
Don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow. Grab the snake and hold him fast.
You walk toward the far wall of the cave. The snake writhes and spits as it tries to escape the dead worker's grasp, but its efforts are futile. The corpse grips is too strong, and the dead nanny's constant repetition of the command to hold the snake keeps him from forgetting his task and wandering on. Soon you come upon the wall, a collection of 9 stone circles, each with one ornate arrow carved upon it. Holy Jesus. It's an arrow puzzle. I hate these fucking puzzles. Undo. Well, that makes it easier. The stone symbols click into place, and the wall slides away. Beyond, you see a dark tunnel. You steel yourself and walk in. These caves are ancient, carved long ago by dwarves that lived here. Tunnels ran off in all directions. This dwarf doesn't look like he's doing too good. You slip the black robe over your body. Although the back is rather torn, from the front you cut an imposing figure.
My Lord Clytus, I knew you would return. I have been faithful. As you asked, I spoke to no one about you. I have waited for you to take me back to the Colossus so that we can complete what we started. Take me with you, my lord. Please, take me with you.
Do you know the way through the catacombs?
Of course I do. A dwarf never forgets his way, especially through underground tunnels. I could find my way to the Colossus blindfolded.
Well, shit, you might as well be One-Eyed Willie.
I certainly hope so. Your eyes are so weak that you might as well be wearing a blindfold.
My eyes are fine. It's just that the world has grown a bit blurry lately.
You look like hell. Are you sure you can walk? I'm not gonna carry you.
These legs will carry me as far as you wish to go. My devotion to my lord will buoy me.
You sat here for thousands of years waiting for me?
I've waited ever since you sent me here. I knew you would return to take me away. I always knew.
Of course. Come with me now. We shall go there immediately.
Yes, my lord. Of course, my lord. Let us go. I'm ready.
Joints unused for centuries creak and pop as he slowly rises. It's rather disgusting to see how much of his body is left on the cave floor. Surprisingly, he succeeds and walks unsteadily towards you. Now we have a dead dwarf and a dog following us. What the fuck is wrong with this game?
Grab the snake
I don't want to listen to you no more, Grandma. You just shut up. Alright, we gotta head back to Clitius's palace. That's where the catacombs are.
I thought you might be coming back here, and you might need me. The rest of my people are on their way to storm the palace. I came ahead to aid you. I hope you don't mind. I see you're climbing in the social circles.
The Colossus! Break the rune! Break the rune! My lord commands me!
He pushes you aside and charges into the catacombs. The door slams shut behind him, catching his rotted shirt in the door jamb and tearing a piece of cloth off. His footsteps echo as he runs deep into the maze. The dwarf's screams appear to have alerted the guards on the top stairs. You hear some questioning grunts and loud stomping.
We've got the stinking rebel trapped now. Only Clytus knows the way through the catacombs. He'll be here in a second to track that lowlife down and kill him. You hear me, rebel? You're going to die!
You heave the door open and wander into the dark tunnels beyond. You're in a dimly lit chamber within an ancient catacomb. You hold the cloth in front of the dog. He sniffs at it, then lowers his keen nose to the ground. His ears perk up and he points north. The dog sniffs a bit, then points to the north. You hear a commotion towards the beginning of the catacombs. Clitius is yelling at guards to stay back and watch the entrance while he enters to take care of the problem. You assume that means you. We're just following the dog through the catacombs here. The dog sniffs a bit and then points north. The footsteps get closer. From the sound of it, there's only one pursuer, but he's running. He knows these catacombs well, and he's gaining fast. A huge stone spire rises from a pool of lava. Its surface is covered with ancient mystic runes of the Sartan. The footsteps continue to pound behind you. Very close now. Alright. It's time to cast the Unravel spell on the magic rune here. Unravel Illusion. As you trace the runes in the air, you start to sense the wrongness of the Colossus. Crucial magic, the containment of the rune, was broken and then covered up with an illusion. Your spell carefully unties the deception until the illusion completely unravels and falls away. What remains is a hole in the center of the containment rune where the important line should be. Without this line to complete the rune, it is powerless, and has been ever since the piece of the Colossus was removed. That is not good. You place the copy of the headpiece in the hole in the containment room. It slips inside smoothly and firmly. The lines carved on the top of the headpiece connect with the remainder of the rune and complete the spell. Immediately the rune begins to glow. It isn't very bright, but you sense the spell is working. The Colossus magic is being held inside the spire. None is leaking out as it did before.
Patron, I knew you would be trouble. I should have killed you when I first had the chance. And the young prince as well. It seems that I have been far too generous lately. I'll have to rectify that.
The Sartan lifts his scepter and holds it dramatically in front of his body, but nothing happens. He tries it a few more times, staring in disbelief. The prince laughs, draws his sword, and pounces on the confused dynast. Clitius doesn't have sense enough to scream, but looks bewildered by the sword wound left by the prince's attack. He topples into the moat of lava surrounding the Colossus as a powerless scepter falls from his lifeless fingers.
So, Haplo, you are a patron. I know about your race. Balthazar taught me well. This should make us enemies, but you have helped me. You have helped my people. Perhaps you did this for your own reasons, but I owe you a debt of gratitude, and I still consider you my friend. I thought that this was my most valued possession. Now I know that I value my subjects, my world, more. I want you to have it, to make certain that you do not forget us. If Abarak is to survive, we must be linked to the other worlds, and you are the only one that can do this. Take the seal piece. Go back to your ship, through Death's Gate. Save this world, Haplo, my friend. We need you. Now, I must clean this palace of the filth Clytus left here. My people should be in position by now.
Clitius! We will take the stone seal piece and return once again to the Nexus. Czar will be pleased. You produce the stone seal piece while recounting your macabre experience on Abarak. Quite unexpectedly, instead of focusing on the large number of surviving Sartan there, Czar asks you to elaborate on the art of necromancy. He even asks to see the spellbook that shows the spell.
It appears that these Sartan have done our job for us. By using necromancy unchecked for thousands of years, they've decimated their own race. I'm sure it's fair to assume that there are only a few stragglers remaining in the other realms, like your Zifnab, if any are left alive at all. The survivors in Abarak don't sound strong enough to resist us. In fact, they are in the midst of a civil war. Once the world is reformed, the resulting chaos will be perfect for our army to walk in and destroy both sides. You've done your job well. There's only one world left, and I hope what you will discover there will be no surprise. Many coffins filled with dead Sartan. If you haven't already, take the amulet that your prince was foolish enough to give you and transfer it to your steering stone. Go to Chalestra and bring back its seal piece. We're very close, Haplo. I can feel it.
You said that it was necromancy unchecked that killed the Sartan. Does that mean you'd consider using it with limits?
Do you understand the potential of that spell? An army whose numbers never diminish, whose members get stronger after they die. What force could stand against it? Naturally, we'd have some other deaths to compensate, but they'll be manageable. After a few skirmishes, the mere threat of our army would be enough to enjoin surrender. Then we wouldn't need to use the spell anymore. Until that happens, there are always losses in war.
Is it me, or does Zar look like Liam Neeson?
Prince Edmund placed his faith in me to save his world. That's why he gave me the amulet.
This is from the race that consigned you to an eternity of torment, and he asks you for help. Are you seriously considering his plea? Look at his situation. His people squabble among themselves like mensch. Even now, they are in the throes of a civil war. Naturally, he wants you to help him. You represent the greatest threat his kind has ever known. He must not have realized what his amulet would mean to us, but it is our responsibility to take advantage of it. You don't just represent yourself. You are the vanguard for our entire race. Don't let your emotions get in the way of your mission. I'd hate to have to cut it short. Look deep inside yourself. You'll find that you are a patron. You were whelped by the labyrinthine fires of hate. Hate for the accursed Sartan that put you there. I can trust you, Haplo, because you are a reflection of me. You are my son, as all patrons are my children.
Have you learned anything new about the 6 Sartan devils that you were researching?
It happens that I'm very close to finishing my research. I have linked 4 of the devils to the spells that they were responsible for, and the other 2 aren't long in coming. Unfortunately, one of those 2 created the Reformation spell, so I cannot stop now. That's the spell I really need. The ones I uncovered, the original sundering, something called the interconnection, etc., are useless to me. But as I said, I'm very close.
That's enough for right now. I'd like to talk to you later if you don't mind.
Very well. I'll be here.
Right. We have quite the hefty inventory, and we still have our wonderful dog companion following us around. What a good boy. It's now time to cast the magic of transference for the water world. Holy shit. You call on the power of the steering stone to take you through the death gate into Chalestra, world of water. Upon leaving the death gate, your ship is surrounded by water. A light from the underwater sun glints off the crystalline domes of orbiting moons. Underneath the nearest, you see an entrance, so you guide your ship inside. Alright, we're here on the water world. Stay tuned to the next video. and we shall explore its depths.